Ooh, what's going on, my beautiful marketing people? Welcome to another episode of the show. Today, joining me is Tracy Frisbie. She is the VP of Marketing at Buzzballz Southern Champion. Tracy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me here today.
I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited to dive into some topics around really using insights to push your business forward. But before we get into that, I want to hear your story. How did you find your way into this crazy world of marketing?
Oh boy, yeah. Wasn't a set path by any means. When I got out of college many years ago, I went into sales. Thought that was my calling, and through a couple sales positions, I found that I was always creating promotions, right, for my accounts and dreaming up ways to come up with more sales. And that really kind of just led me over to the marketing side. When I worked for Pepsi, I ended up in a hybrid role that was a little bit what you'd call trade marketing today. And I had a national account base, but I also had to grow their business and create promotions for them. And I fell in love with it. It was my calling. And I was recruited away by Constellation Brands, which at the time was Canandaigua Wine Company. And I was going into their new trade marketing or promotions department and helping start that up for them. So that was a good 20 plus years ago. And I've been in the alcohol marketing business ever since.
Amazing. So, now, you go from Constellation, and now you're at Buzzball Southern Champion. Now, we talked a little bit off air, and you said, okay, we got a marketing team. There's a couple of y'all, and you're there. Talk to me about that difference of really working with big budgets, big teams, now coming in and being like, okay, we need to be crafty. What have you done that, or what have you, I guess, you taken as an approach to come in and say, okay, we're going to grow these brands, and here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, coming from a huge CPG company, one of the largest, alcohol manufacturing companies, and being there for almost 20 years, and just seeing the growth there. And yeah, there were healthy budgets and a lot of money spent on analytics and insights and research. And that's where my passion for insights was really derived, because it was just such amazing data, or even just qualitative information where you get to know these consumers and these shoppers. And it was exciting to use that to develop shopper marketing for Constellation Brands. And then coming to a very small family owned company 3 years ago that really had never had a marketing budget, had never had a formal marketing team, and being charged with, okay, create a team, create strategy, create budgets. You really have to think about, okay, we got to get the basics right first, right? And we're working very scrappy and very smart. So let's do the bare necessities to get started. And then as we're growing this company and growing our brands, the budgets will come with that. And that's what we've seen. Because I think when I arrived here 3 years ago, they were doing about 20 million in revenues. We'll finish this year well over 100 million. So with that, again, you've earned the right to have a budget because you're proving your ROI and your ROIS. And so it was just starting with the basics. And for us, a lot of it was just knowing, okay, who are these crazy, fun buzzball consumers, right? And why do they buy our products? And digging into those insights and really having rich dialogue with your consumers to find out what makes them tick, why do they love your product, how are they using it, and that became the base for all of our marketing, for the content, for social media, for point of sale in store, for the promotions that we come up with, just to drive that consumer awareness and then trial.
I love it. Now, for that person who's listening and the marketer who I would say comes from the creative side of the house and is maybe now moving up into managerial executive, and they're tasked with looking at data. I know they're going to be intimidating sometimes, and they're like, I'm just going to go with my gut, right? And there's so many numbers. So I get it. When I look at, you can get lost in how many metrics there are. What would you say to someone who's in a CPG, maybe a CPG startup, of like, okay, you have all this data. What are some of those metrics or things that you can derive from the data to actually start to get insights on your customer?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be looking at like syndicated data, scan data like IRI or Nielsen, hey, it's great. It tells you a sales story, but that's about it, right? It's not telling you why someone is purchasing your brand. What's the appeal of it? So you're going to have to go a little more qualitative, and sometimes it's a more intimate group of consumers or shoppers that you start to have this dialogue with. And the great thing is now there's so many ways to reach these consumers, right? I mean, directly through social media. These people want to have DM conversations with you, and sometimes it's at 2 in the morning. Especially if you're an alcohol brand, you have some people, some some interesting conversations late at night or early in the morning. But there are a lot of just kind of scrappy ways that you can garner this data and this insights. And again, I'm going to say if you're small and you don't have a budget, go for qualitative over quantitative to get started. Because again, as you grow and you have more resources, then you can branch out and get more of the quantitative data. But that's what we did. I mean, it was a lot of social media conversations, um, polling, sometimes just even phone calls and emails. I mean, we have consumers who literally call us probably once a week, and our receptionist has pretty robust conversations with them. So we're a family oriented business, and we treat our consumers like they're part of the family.
I love it. There's actually a great book called Small Data. Um, and I got to get the guy's name, Martin Lindstrom, and he was a big brand consultant for Lego, Pepsi, all these things. But he was tasked with going and finding, you're saying that qualitative, sitting down with small groups of people, seeing, hey, how do you actually use the product? Why do you actually purchase instead of just looking at, we have this many SKUs, we sold this much product in Tennessee, they must like this more, right? It's like let's actually peel
Hmm.
back these layers a little bit and get into what makes our customers tick. How are they acting, and how are they um, responding to the different brand messages that we put out there? I think, to your point, like there's something too you can do where if you're listening, you're going, well, it's COVID and I can't do that. Okay, reach out to people or use some social listening tools. See how people actually use or talking about your brand. I think there's so much that isn't used when it comes to social listening, and seeing how we portray our company is one thing. How consumers are posting about it is really what I think what the brand is a lot more so. Um, and for anyone who wants to, yeah, just go look at your brand and see how people are posting about it. I think that's going to tell you a lot when you look at how you want to create that message moving forward. Um, Now, in terms of Buzzballz Southern Champion, you have a bunch of brands, right? And Buzzballz is becoming the um, more and more well known. But now, talk to me about how you're creating some other brands, and really, I guess some of the, well, I guess one, how do you divide up your time and efforts when you've got a bunch of brands? From looking at the experience that the customer is having for one of those, and then also talk to me about the learnings or experiences from having Buzzballz, which we talked off air. You said, predominantly convenience store is where it's shelved or where you're going to see a lot of activity, versus some of your newer brands that are much more, family barbecue driven on the shelf at Kroger's. Like, talk to me about, I guess, like that mindset shift or the different team, that how you have to go back and forth from kind of positioning those two products.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, Buzzballs, gosh, we've been around over 10 years now, and the brand had enjoyed growth over the first 10 years, and it was slow and very organic, and that gave us the opportunity to really get to know, like, how are people using our brand, right? What do they think about it? What is this brand? What does it mean to them? Because we had that opportunity to let consumers dictate our brand. And when you were saying social listening, when you watch the conversations on Twitter versus Facebook or Instagram, you start to see three very diverse consumer groups there as well, right? And very different types of conversations. So that told us how we speak to our consumers on Twitter is going to be very different than what we're saying on Facebook, because it's two very different consumer groups. Um, so, when we decided we were going to branch out away from just Buzzballs and create some other ready to drink cocktail brands like Uptown Cocktails, that was going to be more targeted towards the grocery channel because Buzzballz does great in convenience and liquor stores. We're the on the go cocktail, right? We're all about convenience, but we were really missing those points of distribution in the grocery channel. So that's how Uptown Cocktails was developed because, the grocery trip is a stock up trip, right? So you're buying larger sizes and you're buying things for shareable occasions, or something that you're going to open and put in your refrigerator and have one glass every day over the week or 2 weeks versus the Buzzballs, which is a quick one and done type consumption activity. So when we were developing Uptown, it was really like, okay, so it's a different shopping occasion. Number one, that's really what we had to think about, which is different usage occasions. We also knew that you look at all the statistics and demographics for who the average grocery shopper is across Walmart, Kroger, Albertsons banners, Myers, etc. And you start to kind of create a brand that's based on that profile of that shopper. And so we knew we needed something that was sleek and sophisticated, but also a good value, right? So we started out with the 1.5 liter glass bottles at Uptown, and we wanted it to be that affordable luxury, so that's really where we started with that brand. And it was a little more sophisticated but still casual. But Buzzballs again is that high energy fun, kind of pregame type RTD cocktail. Or hey, I'm going to the lake today, or doing some outdoor activities, I can throw this in the cooler, I don't have to worry about it breaking. And so again, it's kind of that on the go cocktail where Uptown for us is that shareable casual moments. And it could be, again, just your after work cocktail every day that you pour out of the bottle, or you're having your neighbors over, and you don't want to play bartender. So you have pre-mixed cocktails ready to go. But again, a little more sophisticated situation and showing for your guests. So, um, it hasn't proven difficult for us. I mean, we know RTD cocktails very well. We make amazing tasting cocktails. The blends are a little different between the two brands. Uptown Cocktails is a little bit lower in alcohol, so probably has more a wider appeal as far as just palates. Buzzballs is a 15% alcohol, so again, it's going to be a little more alcohol forward. But again, they're the two different usage occasions, right? And I'm going to sip and be casual, or I need a pregame real quick, right? So for us, we really enjoy having two different personalities to market. And then your tactics differ very much as well. I mean, social media drives everything for us for Buzzballs. That consumer is glued to their mobile device over 5 hours a day, and they're very social, and they want to have a relationship with the brand. That Uptown shopper and consumer, again, they spend more time on their desktop or laptop than they do a mobile device. So how you're communicating with them is different, and we spend a lot more time and energy on probably in-store messaging for Uptown Cocktails. Again, because in a grocery environment, it's very crowded, and people are having to make decisions really fast at the shelf. So we're investing more in kind of the in-store marketing activity with Uptown, and then with Buzzballs, it's definitely more digitally driven.
I love that idea of thinking about the customer's shopping experience, and okay, we've segmented out the audience, and we look at this one is okay. I'm stopping at the store. What are you getting? Okay, I'm gonna get a 6 pack of beer. You're gonna get Buzzballs. All right, now we're going to the friend's house. We're gonna drink. Cool. Versus, I'm going to the store. I have two kids beside me while I'm grocery shopping. They're hooting and hollering about something, and I'm like, I look at the shelf, and it's like, okay, at that moment, I need convenience more than anything in my life, and it's like, oh, okay, sleek packaging, it's good. I'm gonna be proud to pour this out at the 4th of July barbecue, or like you said, or it's just I want to kick it and have a drink after work, but I don't want to have to go to the store every 4 days. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
get this. They can kind of you know live on my shelf at home for a little bit longer. Um, so I love that breakdown, and I think for anyone listening is just thinking about if you have different brands or just different customers, really think about that entire experience, not from when they walk down the aisle that you're shelved on, but when they park the car. Like before they park the car, is it just like what could be going on from that moment to getting to the product to actually getting back and enjoying it? I think it's that whole experience is just so important. And then afterwards, when they're posting about it on social media, use that to your benefit, please, listener, please. um, Tracy, now before I let you go, I want you to let us know where we can learn more about Buzzball Southern Champion, where we can look maybe to find the product on shelves, and then two, where people can connect with you online.
Sure. Well, Buzzballz is buzzballs.com, and that's Buzzballz. So lots of Z's in there. And we have a great website. It'll tell you everything about all of our amazing flavors. I think we have about 12 in our current rotation. And we have an amazing product locator. So just click on that and it'll geolocate and give you a long list of retailers where you can find us or online as well. So we have linked up all the retailers' e-com sites as well. So if you prefer to order online, you can do that. You can also order by the case. We have a partner that fulfills those orders for us. So lots of easy ways to find Buzzballz. Uptown Cocktails, same thing, just uptowncocktails.com. We currently have 8 active flavors in that brand. And again, that's predominantly going to be in the grocery channel. So, Kroger, Target, Walmart, lots of the Albertson Safeway banners. There's so many to list. Meyer, I could go on and on. But again, product locator, so that will help you, locate and see what retailers are the closest to you. And for me, I'm on LinkedIn. So easy to find. It's Tracy Frisbie, and it's Frisbee with an IE, not an EE. So, yeah, look me up on LinkedIn or follow us, follow Buzzballz on LinkedIn. We're always sharing our latest events and activities and all the crazy fun that this team likes to have with marketing our brands. I mean, we have fun brands, and it's a serious business, but we try to keep it light and have a good time and promote our drinks and promote responsible consumption as well.
I love it. I love it. So make sure go check out those sites and make sure to connect with Tracy as well. Thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate you taking the time and dropping some knowledge here for us. I learned a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jordan. This was a lot of fun.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. As always, I'm your host, Jordan Shelton, and I'll catch you next time.